Welcome back, everybody. Lunchtime on Thursday. We're almost done with the week. I've got an awesome speaker for you coming up right now. Let me pull up her banner and introduce her. The benefits of yoga go far beyond eye-catching Instagram photos, and for the majority of us who practice it, it looks far less glamorous. But even when it isn't pretty, it has some pretty awesome benefits for your health. And that's why we're here today, to fill in the gaps that traditional healthcare has and provide actionable ways to change your health, eliminate your pain, and increase your quality of life without pills, procedures, or puzzles. I'm your host, Dr. Sarah, and I'm very excited to introduce Karla Tafra, a certified yoga teacher, nutritionist, and wellness coach. She has been using her knowledge and skills for the last 10 years to increase her clients' flexibility and mobility and speed up their recovery. She's passionate about helping others find balance in their lives, both on and off the mat. So for the next 45 minutes, she's going to talk about why yoga is a great way to increase your flexibility, mobility, and strength, even when you don't have a ton of room. So please welcome Karla. Hello.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. I'm so excited to hear you talk.
Yeah. So basically, a little bit about me. I'm actually from Croatia, but I lived in Spain, and then I moved here almost 4 years ago. And I've always been a very active individual. I've been a dancer since I was practically 2. And I actually started yoga at the age of 13 because I've had a lot of issues with my lower back, ballet and, just severely stretching all the time. Really hurt my back because as you're a kid and you're growing, all of your muscles need to be developed at the same time. And when you're stretching one leg more than the other, that doesn't really happen. So, of course, your body is going to have some disbalances then. And then my doctor actually suggested yoga. I didn't even know what it was. I thought it was just meditation. And in Croatia, there was only one studio. So when I went, I didn't even know what to expect. But what I found is something that really, really helped me. And mind you, I was a very flexible child. So it wasn't like it helped my flexibility in terms of increasing it as much as controlling it. And that's basically what got me hooked on yoga. And that's what got all of my friends who were dancers hooked on yoga as well, because I found it to be a great warm-up and controlling kind of tool that helped me before any of my dance classes. And I would come earlier, I would start stretching, I would start doing some yoga poses, and my friends looked at me and they asked me what I was doing. So I started teaching them, and they were my first clients, let's say, my first students. After that, I finished my yoga teacher certificate, and I started teaching mostly athletes because I wanted to help them improve their performance, and they were mostly the crowd that I was hanging out with. So over the years, I found a lot of different clients that I helped increase their mobility, their range of motion, their flexibility, and everything, including people who are really older or even kids, and also people who are just living very sedentary lives, especially here in the US, where when I arrived, I realized that was the biggest problem of all. People are spending all of their days in their office or in their car, or waiting in lines, like driving through places to eat, not walking to a place, sitting down, having their food, and then walking back home. So for me, it was really important to kind of explain how sitting down affects you and how it can really, really deteriorate your health. So whenever I teach classes that include stretching those areas of your body that are really neglected and that we don't even think about because the majority of our day, we're not focused on our bodies unless we're doing a workout. But even then, I would always say begin with the moment you wake up. And even though a lot of people don't have a ton of space in their bed, and you're not even supposed to have a ton of space in your bed, what you can always do is make sure that you're not getting up from your bed cold, and you're not getting up just by swinging your legs on the side or bringing one leg down and then the other, because believe it or not, but you can even strain a muscle that way. I mean, I know that sounds funny, but at the end of the day, it can happen, especially if you've slept on one side the entire night, and then you just wake up and turn around. You can severely damage, even strain your muscles, damage your nerves and stuff like that. So I always say, when you wake up in the morning, bring your knees to your chest. That's your number one thing that you can do to reset your body. And you don't need a ton of space for that. You literally just need to bring your knees to your chest. And then slowly rock your body left to right to massage your spine a little bit and to wake it up. And then extend your entire body. So extend your legs down, extend your arms over your head, and just interlace your fingers and try to extend your entire body to feel the energy and blood circulate wherever it can go. And then slowly sit on the edge of your bed, and with both feet at the same time, place them down. This will make you feel more balanced and grounded, and your entire waking up thing will be more controlled. Because when we're waking up, our body is taking a longer time than we need. And especially on some days, you might feel like you're sleeping through your entire morning. So it's not uncommon to injure yourself or to do a wrong movement and then feel weird for the next 3 days and, don't know what you've even done, especially if you haven't worked out and you're thinking to yourself, I don't understand it. Like, what did I do? Well, that's kind of the thing. There's nothing really that you did. It's kind of a lot of different factors that contributed to it. Maybe lack of sleep, maybe lack of movement, maybe just, stress that was accumulated in your body over the last 3 days of working nonstop or having issues with your colleagues at work or, projects or even relationships. It's hard to kind of separate the physical from the mental. And that's what yoga teaches you. It teaches you that flexibility and mobility depend on your mental state as much as on your physical state. And if you are somebody who practices yoga or any type of exercise and fitness, you know that there are days when you come to the gym or you come to the studio and you feel great. You can do everything. And I'm not talking about being sore. I'm talking about being able to do crazy balances and stretches and sit into a split and do a great forward fold that feels really good in your body. And then the following day, nothing changed in between. You come to the studio, you come to the gym, and you feel like you can't do anything. And you don't understand it. And you think to yourself, like, how can I go backwards? And that's the thing, because something did happen. It was probably stress or lack of sleep or something that just triggered a physical tense situation in your body. So even if you don't know you're tense, your body tenses up whenever it's feeling frightened, whenever it's feeling afraid, whenever it's feeling like it needs to fight or flight. So if your body is in that state for longer periods of time, your muscles are going to contract. That's just, biology. And we never think of it that way. We always consider our physical fitness to have to progress, and if we don't work out for a period of time, then we'll regress. But that's not the case. Sometimes what you need to do is rest for your progress to actually show. And I know that might sound weird, and you might be thinking to yourself, wow, I never thought of it that way. But that's completely true. Sometimes if you're feeling really fatigued from work, you're not even supposed to work out. You need to take a day, completely try to rest, do all the self-care possible tools that you have in your toolbox, and try to use that time to recover. Whether it's by foam rolling, going to cryotherapy sessions, going to infrared saunas, whatever, just not further stressing out your body, because physical movement, exercise, it's stress. And it can furthermore just increase your problems and not help you solve them. So when it comes to finding a time in your day when you want to move, but you don't have space for it, or you have some other limitations, like for example, you're in the office and you feel your spine really, really stiff and all of your muscles around your spine are feeling like they need to they just need to move because you're feeling jacked. So you're in your office attire, you don't have yoga clothes on, you're in your by your desk or in your cubicle or wherever you work. And what are you going to do? You can't get up, roll out your mat, and do yoga. But there are things you can definitely do. Some of them always involve chair yoga, which, is going to be limited by the attire that you have. So if you have a shirt on, or if you have like a blazer or anything like that, it's going to be a little bit difficult. But essentially what you're going to do is you're just going to work on your neck. You're going to try to extend your entire neck and feel the blood circulate. You're going to try to extend your arms and feel your shoulders come forward, and then try to push them back so that you feel your chest expand. Sometimes you may even feel a crack here if you've been sitting near a computer like this all day long. That's a good feeling because it means that everything here is opening up, stretching, you're bringing fresh oxygen and all of the nutrients into your cells. And then, of course, you want to move your spine. So you're going to use the back of your chair and do twists and turn back, and you might feel some cracks here as well. Just be very gentle with your body, but try to move in as many positions and planes as you feel like, and there's no wrong movement here, basically. So you want to kind of circle your shoulders, you want to move your head, you want to stretch your arms. So whatever you can do to feel the blood circulate. That's not just going to help you physically, but also clear your focus. It'll help you work better, be more productive. It'll help you kind of take like a little reset in your day. And of course, if you have the time, I always encourage taking walks, at least, to the water fountain or to the bathroom as often as you can, just to stretch your legs and feel your lower back kind of release the tension. Because as you're sitting down all day long, all of the tension actually comes to your pelvis and your sacrum. And then, your entire weight is there, and it just doesn't feel good, because at the end of the day, your spine is made out of vertebra, and your vertebrae are actually going to be stacking on top of one another without space between them. And that's going to cause you so many problems along the way. So I always encourage moving as much as you can. And like I said, space is really not important, because all you need to do are little movements with your body to feel that. You don't have to do a full workout class. And then, of course, there are situations like when you are traveling, you're in a plane, and you've been sitting for long periods of time and you really need to move. Usually what I do is I don't use the space in between the aisles, the space in between the seats, just because of respect for other people. But I go back toward bathrooms, and then if there's nobody there, I really try to stretch as much as I can by, coming into a forward fold, relaxing my upper body over my legs, bending my knees, and just like swaying my body left to right, just to feel the blood and, everything just move and circulate, feel your joints getting lubricated. And then when you're sitting in your seat, try not to sit the same way the entire flight. So if you have the space, and if you're a tinier person, you can try to sit in the lotus, or just cross your ankles, or you can lift one leg and put it on your seat, just to bring your knee up and to feel that hip kind of relax a little bit and loosen up. And then the other, and then once again, the same things I just mentioned. So move your head left to right, stretch your neck, stretch your shoulders, roll your shoulders, move your hands. Always try to move your body as much as you can, especially when you feel like you've been just sitting down watching a movie and you're in a really difficult position. Planes are really tough, just because, especially if you're in the middle seat, it's not fun. But there's always a moment where you can get up, go to the bathroom, and just move your body a little bit. And yoga makes it very creative. That's kind of what I would say, because whenever you feel like you need to do something, your body in a way will automatically know how to move. And that'll come over time, but you definitely do feel that. So for example, you are sitting in your car and you are in a traffic jam and you just feel your neck really weird and stiff, your body is automatically going to start moving it. It's automatically going to start going to one side and then the other and going down and up, just because it needs movement. It's kind of like it knows what it needs to do. So when you're in your car, there are also great things that you can do for your body. Of course, for your upper body more than your lower, but still, your spine is in your upper body and it connects to your sacrum and it goes down, of course, into your pelvis. But at the same time, it's your upper body. So if you're not moving your legs, it doesn't mean that your legs aren't getting anything done, because your spine is the center of all of your nerves. And your nerves are your communication responses and your communication little, let's call them little magic pills that travel throughout your entire body and reach every cell. So you can literally activate your leg without moving your leg. And that's why moving your spine is so much more important than, just stretching out your legs. Just because when you're moving your entire spine, when you're twisting, you're turning, you're kind of stimulating everything else in your body. You're stimulating your lymph system, you're stimulating your hormones to kind of just start producing or to stop producing whatever they're producing. So when you are in tune with your spine, you're also in tune with everything else. And then, of course, like I mentioned, the mental aspect of yoga, extremely important for your physical state, especially when it comes to reducing stress and anxiety. And that's because we hold on to stress and anxiety in our bodies. And some people hold on to it in their muscles. Some people really hold on to it in their joints. And they can feel when they're stressed out that their joints are just not as lubricated. They can feel their wrists in pain, their knees in pain, their shoulders, their hips. And basically, the problem that occurs then is that you start seeking medical help when your doctor comes back with all the tests and says you're fine, there's nothing wrong with you, but you really don't feel fine. So, and you don't understand that that's just your stress, your anxiety. And then the third aspect of stress and anxiety actually shows in your gut and on your skin. And even then, yoga can help. And the way it helps is, first of all, it makes you focus on your breath. And that's why people say that yoga and meditation are so connected and that one cannot exist without the other. And although I would say that's not completely true, just because meditation in itself is so much more and can definitely stand by itself, yoga can't. And when you are focused on your breath, which is what you should be in every yoga class, you are practically meditating because you are being in the present moment. You're trying not to let any distractions disrupt your flow, and you're helping your body kind of understand everything that's going on. And that's usually what in life we're not as accustomed to do, because we go through life on autopilot so often that we're not even aware of our bodies. We're not aware of how and where we're moving, what we're doing, where our arms are going, where our legs are going. So basically that's what happens when you have a weird injury, or let's say you walk down the street and you roll your ankle and there wasn't even a pothole there. And the reason for it is because you're so distracted by everything else going on around you in your environment that you simply don't acknowledge your body. You don't acknowledge where you are and how your body is moving. And that's what yoga helps you in. It helps you become more aware of your body, and it helps you become more, how would I say that, attentive when something is wrong, when something is just not feeling right. You'll feel it immediately. So if you're stretching, let's say your left leg, and your left leg is a little bit, it's not as flexible as your right, and you're thinking of your job, you're thinking of that email you have to send, you're thinking of your to-do list and what you have to make for dinner and stuff like that, it's not uncommon to go too far. It's uncommon to actually wake up the next day feeling super sore in your hamstring and you're thinking, oh my God, what did I do? I can't do anything today. That's because you weren't thinking of your leg at the time you were stretching it. So whether you have the space to work out or not, the space to stretch or not, the most important thing is to keep your mind present. And that's what you can do with your breath. So that's when you can include the mind to muscle connection factor into your workout. And that is literally focusing on the exact muscle or joint that you're working with. So for example, you're stretching your hamstring. Let's say you are on the floor near your bed and you don't have a ton of space and all you want to do is just stretch your legs a little bit before you go to sleep. So you come down to a plank and you lift one of your legs up and you step right in front of your hands. And you are stretching and you are trying to push that foot into the ground and you are just trying to work on that hamstring. So first of all, you need to focus on your breath, because whenever we find ourselves in a challenging position, whether it's physical or mental, we are very unaware of the fact that we hold our breath. So whenever we feel frightened or anxious or stressed, what we're doing is we hold our breath. So first and foremost, connect to your breath and start going deeper into your inhales, going deeper into your exhales, really trying to connect with yourself. That's number one. And then number two, connecting to that muscle and your joint that you're stretching. So in this situation, when you're in your runner's lunge and you're pushing your foot into the ground, you're pushing your hands into the ground, try to think about that hamstring. Think about that hip. Even if you want to, close your eyes, if that helps you not look around. So try to feel like with every inhale and with every exhale, you are going deeper and you're stretching that leg more. Even if you don't actually stretch it more, in your mind you are. And that's what I always recommend to do, not just when you're doing a regular yoga class or going to the gym, but especially when you're stretching in spaces where you don't have the space to stretch and when you don't feel like you are doing anything. The more you think about it and the more you connect, the better your progress will be. And you don't even have to physically show it. So when you're stretching, just by sitting down and you lift your arms up, I want you to feel like you can touch the ceiling, like you can really touch it, like you want to touch it. And the more you extend, the closer you are. And if you imagine that, what's actually happening in your body is your nerves are sending signals to your muscles and saying, extend, 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 and stretch and stretch and stretch. So that feeling, that motion, that constant activation of your muscles is, at the end of the day, what matters the most. Because if you're just going through the motions without connecting to your muscles, you're never going to find any progress. It just won't come your way because you're focusing on other things. So that's why yoga is so amazing for your mobility and your flexibility, because not just the fact that over time and by being consistent and by, working out 7 times a week or whatever, you're going to be able to do a full split or a wheel. No, it's about teaching you how to get in tune with your body, how to be in the present moment, and how to listen to your body, how to address any issue that might be going on. Because if you're just going blindly through the movements, you're not paying attention to, where you feel like you need a little bit more love, where you feel your body just needs a bit more help, or when one of your legs needs to stretch out a little bit more than the other. And if you are not being connected to your body, you're never going to find that balance that, we all so desperately need in life. And whether it's through physical stretching, through mobility, through flexibility, or just by, being grounded and being still, just listening to what your body needs. And if that day your body needs to not move and just rest, then that's your yoga for the day. And sometimes it's hard, because you think that you need to work out and you need to move and you need to do all these things to feel better and to get better. But at the end of the day, it can cause you more harm. So yeah. And when it comes to, stretching and mobility, there are a few things that I always like to tell my students as tips that I want them to take away from my classes, mostly because, especially if they're beginners, they'll feel intimidated when they come to class and they see all these poses and they see all the students around them doing these crazy poses. And then they start feeling frustrated because they can't do something. And at the end of the day, it just ends up hurting them more. So there are a few tips that I always like to share. And one of them is just don't compare yourself to others, okay? So if you're just beginning and if you are not, but you just aren't there where the people around you are, or you are coming back from an injury, be patient with yourself, listen to your body and don't compare yourself to others, because yoga is your practice. It's individual. And whether or not you move from the place you are right now depends on you. It doesn't depend on the person next to you. It doesn't depend on the teacher. It doesn't depend on taking 5 classes a day. It depends on you. So you need to be respectful of your body, of your body's limits, and of your body's even just, current state. Because like I said, there might be days when you feel amazing and when all you can do is, just enjoy each pose and you feel like you can do everything. But then there will be days when you'll be falling off your balance, when you will be feeling like you're just stuck, especially if it's cold outside. So, just be patient with your body and don't compare yourself to others. And then of course, don't expect progress overnight, because it just isn't possible. It's one of those things in life that I can tell you for sure it's not possible. Gaining flexibility and mobility is, if you think about it very plainly, it's literally changing your body. It's changing your muscles. It's changing your joints. It's changing your bone structure. So when you think of it that way, you really can't expect things happening overnight. So, in order for your hip to open more than it is right now, you need to literally move your bones. You need to open up your muscles. And that's not something that can happen overnight. So keep that in mind whenever you're frustrated that you can't do something, or that you thought you could do it, but you actually can't. Okay? It's not about sitting in a certain position and staying there for 20 minutes, then doing that every day, and then after a month, you'll be closer. Yeah, you will. But that's not it. It's about, realizing how how many little mechanisms need to be moved in your body so that you actually get into that split, or that you actually bring your torso onto your thighs in a forward fold, or that, I don't know, you come into a cobra pose and you can bend your knees and touch your head. It's so much more than doing that pose over and over and over again. There's so many mechanisms in your body that need to work in unison to be able to come to that position comfortably without, pushing or pulling. Then, of course, my next tip is to never push and never pull. So flexibility, like I said, it doesn't come overnight, but it's also not something that you can force. And if your body's going through something, if it's tense, if you're coming back from injury, pushing and pulling will just set you back. And that's because you're using the wrong muscles. Basically, for example, you want to come into a forward fold and you're sitting down on the floor and you want to touch your toes. And you'll do everything to touch your toes. See, that's not the point of a forward fold. The point of a forward fold is to go as far away with your torso forward as you can, so that you stretch not just your legs, but your entire back. And keeping that back straight, you're trying to place your torso onto your thighs and keep it there and rest it on your thighs. Because when that happens, touching your feet and grabbing your feet are just an extension of an arm away. But if you are hell-bent on touching your toes and you are sitting in your normal seat and your legs are extended in front of you and you're trying to touch your toes, but you're doing this, you're never going to actually do any of this. Because by doing this, you're pulling with the wrong muscles. You're using your shoulders to pull yourself and you're curving your entire spine. What that does is not one step towards actually coming into a forward fold, because you're not extending your spine. You're curving your spine and you're basically just stacking your vertebrae on top of one another again. You are not using your abs and you're not creating space in your lower abdomen to place eventually your torso onto your thighs. And then what you're also doing is you're crunching your neck. So you're also creating issues for the side of your neck, for your shoulders, and for absolutely everything in your body. You're just tensing it more. You're not stretching it. So by the end of that, your legs are already fatigued because you're not even activating them. You're not using them. Your spine is not extending, and you're closing up the front side of your body, which is necessary to come down onto your thighs. So you're basically not doing anything. So the pulling and pushing will never get you anywhere. And that's why taking it slow and taking it one day at a time by listening to your body is the only way to progress. And even though you might not see it very quickly or feel it, or feel like you've been sitting in the same position without being able to touch your toes for months, that's the only real way to actually do it. So my next tip is always, just don't go crazy. It's a very simple one, but don't go crazy. Don't get angry. Don't get frustrated on yourself, because it makes no sense. You are not, there isn't a deadline you need to hit. There isn't a specific goal or target you need to hit by a specific year or month. You are working on improving your body every single day for the rest of your life. So if that means you're constantly working towards something, that should be a good thing, right? Not a bad thing. So, whenever you're feeling like you're in a situation where you don't have the space, you don't have the time, you don't have anything, then your response shouldn't be, it's fine, I'll just skip it. No, do anything. Do something. Do something. And that's why I encourage moving in the smallest of spaces, in small hotel rooms, even without a mat, just on your carpet, just moving your body in the space you have. So if all you have is like a little hallway, of course you're not going to do crazy stuff and end up killing yourself, but you are able to move in that plane. So you're able to come into that hallway, do your upward dog, do your downward dog, do some stretches for your legs. And that's more than enough, you know, because when you're limited by whatever you are, you just need to be a little more creative. And at the end of the day, that's what it comes to, you know. It comes to having the willpower and having the mental aspect of it there. Because if you want to move, if you want to stretch, and if you want to increase your mobility and work on your health, then you will. And why flexibility and mobility are even important in your life? Why would you even want to be flexible? Because believe it or not, I've had students and I've had people who would come to me, and especially one-on-one students, and they would tell me, listen, all I want to do is do some yoga. I need to lose weight. I need to move. But I'm not, interested in, like crazy stuff or getting into a split or whatever. And that's okay. I mean, not everybody's goal needs to be to get as flexible as possible, and not everybody should be or could be. But at the same time, you do want to. You want to be more flexible, and you want to be mobile. You want to have a really great range of motion. And why is that? Because as we grow and as we, are older, we're losing collagen. We're losing our lubricants in our body. And our body is basically closing in on us. So our hips are becoming more narrow. Our shoulders are going more inwards. Our spine is becoming more and more compressed every day as we're walking, as we're standing, just by gravity. And if we're not doing whatever we can to offset that, we are setting ourselves up for, a very difficult elderly life. And I know that sounds negative and morbid, and I'm not saying that you're going to end up in a wheelchair, but the less you move, the less oxygen and nutrients your muscles will get, the less lubricated your joints will be, and then it'll be very hard to move. Yeah. So if you want to be that old lady who is very famous for her pictures with in a planche and in a split, if you want to be like that, if you want to be able to run around and after your grandchildren, and if you want to be, that active guy who is, 70 and he's still running on the beach, then flexibility and mobility are extremely important, because our bodies are all we have. They're our only real home. And the same way you are taking care of yourself by eating right and drinking water and, trying to go to sleep at a really good time and waking up in the morning and doing your work and taking care of your career, that same way you need to take care of your body physically. You need to keep it mobile and fresh and young, and help your body and help all functions in your body actually get as optimized as possible. You want to lower your blood pressure. You want to lower your sugar in your blood. You want to increase your growth hormone as much as you can in the morning, because as we're getting older, we're, producing less and less of it. You want to keep your hormones as optimized as possible. And although I'm not saying you're going to get that just by stretching, it definitely is one of the tools in your toolbox that you can use whenever and wherever, and it costs nothing. You can do it in the comfort of your own home, in your kitchen, in your bathroom, in wherever. You just need to move your body, and that's the biggest gift you can ever give yourself, the gift of movement, in whatever way you can. So yeah, I would say, when you are in a small space and you're trying to do something, I say don't look at it like that. Don't look at it as a small space where you can't do your regular practice. Look at it as a challenge where you will get creative with your movements. You will stretch in all the planes possible, and you will feel better. You will feel your whole body working and vibrating, and your digestive system will be improved, and you'll have more clarity, you'll have less headaches, you'll be less sleepy. So whenever there's more blood circulating through your body, remember that that's a good thing. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this, and yeah, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions, or if anything wasn't clear. I'll be happy to answer, and Sarah will give you all of my information. So yeah, thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you. That was awesome.
You.
I love how you talk about yoga from the perspective of, it's about connecting to your body. It's not about the poses. It's about what that means between your body and your brain. And that's so important. And you don't have to go and do an hour yoga class, and it doesn't matter if you do a perfect downward dog, but just making an effort to get that movement in is so important. So
yeah, absolutely.
I think that was fantastic. And it doesn't take much. You can do it in the hallway. You can do it on an airplane, make use of the time that you have. So
yeah. Absolutely.
Awesome.
The time and the space, because, everybody is different, and sometimes it takes you more than you think. Sometimes it takes you less than you think, but if it makes you feel good, then that's enough,
Yeah. So important. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time so much. I'm going to say goodbye to you for now. Thank you again.
Thank you.
I will be back with you guys in a few more hours. We'll have our last speaker for the day. It's going to be awesome. So I will see you guys at 5 p.m. Central.